Yeah, you're
Yes,
audible.
sir.
We can hear you.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Helmet. Thank you.
So, Bindu, we have got Amit sir, Joshi sir, Mukesh sir, and Rajri ma'am. So, we are awaiting
Oh,
Pankaj
Garima
sir to
ma'am.
join. Garima madam and Pankaj sir.
Okay.
We'll wait for another half a minute and then we'll start.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So, let us start now. So, I want everybody to on their camera so that at least I can see their faces and they can see mine. अमित सर आपका कैमरा ऑन करेंगे मुकेश सर हरे राम सर राशि मैडम okay
Garima
so
ma'am is joining.
yeah I think she probably will be joining but we cannot wait further
Okay.
So a warm welcome to all. So this is going to be your 12th workshop, third in a row as far as this facilitation is concerned. This training is going to happen on the facilitation, and the topic is like training the facilitator on taking session on assessment and good question making. So all the best to you all. Over to you, Bindu. We can start now.
Sure. Amit sir is looking for a place to settle down, I think.
Yeah, I think yes.
Any of you are taking the call from school or all of you are in the office?
Majority of them are in the office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm going to share my screen. Can all of you see my screen? Slideshow
Yes.
mode?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah,
But it has to be full screen.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it is full screen.
Wait. I thought I was showing you the. Can you see now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yeah, okay, fine. So what we will do today is because so far you attended so many workshops and some of the concepts have been repeated across a few workshops. What we'll do today is comprehensively we will go through all the concepts that have been covered so far. I will do it briefly, but if any of you want further clarifications or you want me to elaborate on something, then I can do that. Okay, so I will start with the assumption that all of you know and are aware of the different aspects of assessments. Okay. So I will start with that. That's going to be the agenda, and mostly it's going to be discussion because uh, I think now that we are making the transition for you to become facilitators, discussion should be the primary mode of our interaction today. Okay, so with that in mind, I will go through the objective. The objective for this workshop is to train facilitators, that is all of you, to look at assessments as a part of learning cycle. And you should be able to impart all the knowledge and skills in assessments to teachers in your state through similar workshops that we've conducted. So the workshops we've done so far will act like a model for you to make your workshops. And we've also shared all the slides and everything so far. So you can use those slides, you can make your slides, you can combine slides, yours and ours, everything to prepare workshops so that you can effectively transfer this knowledge to your teachers. So what we are trying to do is enable an entire state through the six of you, the experts, to become the entire state teachers to become assessment experts, at least to have some basic standard knowledge of assessments, how it is done. Okay, so that will be the workshop objective. The particular outcomes for the workshop will be like you will be trained to, you will be the teacher enablers who will help teachers to develop a scientific view of assessments and help them understand the different aspects that go into assessment creation. So these are all known things. Just putting it on the slide. Okay. Okay, so to start with, what I'm going to do is, since we have some primary knowledge and some advanced knowledge on assessments, I am going to open this meeting for discussing. So suppose like the six of you and sit together and make an assessment course for your state teachers. Assume that you six are now the assessment experts for the entire state of MP, and you're asked to build a small assessment course for your state teachers. Let's look at the main things that will go into the assessment course. Okay. So you can still see the screen, right? Part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see
Good morning.
what are the, how will we structure the course? Okay. So six of you are there. Okay. Garima ma'am is not yet joined. So right now I have five of you. So suppose the five of you sit together and you're making a course for the teachers. Let's you all brainstorm and I will type it out on the slide. I'm giving the five of you like a breakout room discussion. All five of you will discuss and tell me what is the first thing that will go into the course. What will be, suppose I am making it as a chapter. Okay, what are the main topics that will go into the chapter? Oops.
Ma'am, good morning. This is Rashri.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, I think we'll begin with the basic concept of what is assessment and types of
I will
assessment.
type it out. Just hold on, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am?
Just hold on. I will type it out.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So that Parth, what screen are you seeing on my share?
I can see a blank screen which says, let us build an assessment course with the main topic as a subheading.
Okay, let me stop that. And I will share. Okay. Now can you see just the slide without the slideshow?
Yes,
Okay.
we can see that.
Okay. So I am going to type it out as you all five of you discuss and tell me how the course is going to look like. Like suppose, wait, hold on. All of you can see. Is the font visible, readable?
Yeah, font visible, but we can
Yes,
increase
ma'am.
the size of the slide.
Increase the size of the slide. How do I do
It is
that?
57% on the extreme right-hand corner below.
Ah, just hold on. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, got it, got it. Can you, is this okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. So, what will be our first chapter?
Ma'am, first chapter or first step?
First chapter of your, okay, you are doing the assessment course. First step of not building the assessment course, we are building the assessment course itself. So suppose you want to do like the main topics. Okay, so chapter 1. So what will be the chapter 1? And suppose I divide the chapter 1 into, okay, let's go at the chapter level first, and then we will go at the sub-chapter level. What would be the first chapter in your course?
Ma'am, definition of assessment and types of assessment, I think.
Okay. Typing all that, all of you can tell me. I will put everything that comes under definition of assessments. Okay. Types of assessments. Okay. Anything else? Others?
Importance of assessment and ma'am, problem in assessment.
Important of assessments. What do you mean by problem, ma'am?
Probably challenges and
Sometimes, yeah,
challenges.
challenges in
Yeah.
execution of assessment. There may be challenges.
Challenges in assessments. Execution.
Rashri Madam is talking about the test administration part of it.
Okay, execution, etc. Others? What do others think? Is there anything else that should go into chapter 1?
Yes, I think importance as well as the purpose of assessment. That is a very
Oh.
vital thing to add.
Okay. 1 second. I am adding it.
Objective or purpose.
Okay. Very nice. Okay. Others?
So one input from my side, why assessments are required.
So that is the purpose of assessments. Just now sir said. Why is the objective? What do you do with assessment? What is the purpose of assessments? Others? Pankaj sir?
Pankaj sir, your expert comments.
Yeah, Pankaj sir, Joshi sir, all of you. Parth, can you meanwhile check why Garima ma'am is having difficulties in joining?
Okay, I'll check that.
Thank you. What about others? Pankaj sir? Joshi sir?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes sir, we can hear you.
Hello. हाँ मैम. Yes ma'am.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I need some more time to reflect on this topic.
Okay.
After a while, I will give my comment.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Joshi sir? Who mentioned objectives and purpose?
Amit, this is Amit Gupta.
Amit sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Joshi sir is there? Can you hear me, Joshi sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Any inputs on chapter 1? Or just list the main topics. Let's not call it chapter 1. Okay, I'm just going to list the topics that you will cover in the assessment course. Definition of
वेल वाला चाहिए ना है
Process of assessments.
Process. You mean creation, test creation?
Yes.
Okay. Garima ma'am, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Now I can hear.
Okay. So ma'am, we just to recap, what we are doing is like we are just going through all that we will be going through all the concepts that we have covered so far. So we are discussing, like, suppose the 6 of you from the assessment experts, the 6 of you of MP sit and make a course for all the MP teachers on assessments. What are the main topics you will cover? Am I clear, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. So here we have to suggest what else should be there.
Yeah,
Am I
yeah,
right?
we are. Yes, yes, ma'am. What are the things we will cover? So we have definition of assessments, type of assessments, importance of assessments. So importance and objectives, I think, will come together. Sort of they are related. I will put it together so that we don't repeat. Challenges in assessment, assessment process. Anything else that you've learned in the workshops and that is not covered here?
Ma'am, I think there was something related to future of assessment.
Future of assessment. I don't think
Yeah,
we've covered, but that,
it
yeah.
was discussed in the earlier workshop.
Okay. When you're thinking about assessment, entire thing about questions, everything you can think about. All these workshops, the 11 workshops, what are the different things the workshops have covered? Must be more than this, no? Like types of assessment, importance, challenges.
Ma'am, there was a discussion on 21st century skills as well. How to incorporate them in our assessment. There was also a discussion on that, yeah.
Okay. But ma'am, like, did we do other stuff in the workshops? What all did we do in the workshops, all the other workshops? What are the skills you've learned and what are the...
Okay, ma'am. Are we going to make another chapter? Are we talking about
okay,
making...
so this will be, let's call this chapter 1. Okay.
Yeah.
One more thing that I want to add, if it is meant to
Yes.
be added, means different between assessment and evaluation or valuation.
Okay.
Because generally what happens, as I used to think like that, most of the teachers think that, okay, assessment and valuation is apparently the same thing.
Okay. So I'll put it here after definition of assessments. I'll put difference between assessment and evaluation. Okay. So this all goes in chapter 1. So we will call this introduction to assessments. All of you have created this first chapter. So what do you think the second chapter should be?
Second will be on, of course, question making.
Okay.
Characteristics of good questions, yeah.
So question making. So it will contain characteristics of good questions. Then
before characteristics of good questions, I think there should be types of questions.
Types of questions. It doesn't matter. The order is okay.
No,
Whether
no,
it
okay,
can
okay,
come
okay,
before
okay.
or after. Yeah.
I realize that later. Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. What else?
Hope ma'am would pardon me.
No, 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 please. This
No,
is an
that's it, ma'am.
informal discussion, so it's okay. Yeah. What else do you think? We'll go into this chapter.
Ma'am, practices of
Best
good
practices
question making. Yeah, best practices. I'm sorry. Yeah.
in question banking. Okay. What else? What about the others? Doshi sir, Garima ma'am. Garima ma'am, you've come out of your course to attend the workshop?
Yes, ma'am. I have come out of my class to attend the workshop.
Oh,
And while coming to the institute by bus, or in the bus only, I took this pre-test.
oh, okay, okay, okay. You're juggling a lot. What about others? Can you see this thing? What will go into the second chapter on question making? Anybody else? Types of questions, characteristics of good questions, best practices in question making. Do you think we've covered everything by now?
No, no, not at all. I think there are some
Review
okay.
questions.
The same point I was just to speak.
Okay, reviewing questions. Okay, good. Then, anything else?
So, do we cover moderation of question under this reviewing questions only?
Yeah, moderating the questions and reviewing questions are the same. Like moderating the difficulty level, the language, etc. Anything else?
Ma'am, I have a query here.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
shall we put Bloom's taxonomy first or question making first? Which one should come first? Which
So
chapter should come first? Yeah.
when we are talking about characteristics of good questions, here in this we would cover different things, right? Here we will say, we will have to questions that address cognitive skills, right? Here. Plus concept. So as soon as you follow this, you can cover Bloom's taxonomy, because without Bloom's taxonomy, they will not be able to understand the different cognitive skills. This is a good point. Yes, Bloom's taxonomy. Anything else we've left out?
Some examples of good questions, why the question is good.
So that we can include here, no, with examples, best practices, question making with examples. Okay, then any other point? Okay, so I think broadly we've covered most of the stuff, but going back to chapter 1, Introduction to Assessments, just like we said, characteristics of good questions, don't you think that we should have characteristics of good assessments. So when we are looking at a question independently, there are certain characteristics a question will have. But all the questions put together make one assessment, and the characteristics of a good assessment also should come here. So types of assessment, importance of assessments, and then we will also have characteristics of good assessments, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we broadly put together all these topics, then actually we put this as 2 chapters, right? We can actually, put all the topics together. Okay. So if we put all these topics together, we can actually make, if I don't show it as chapter 1 and chapter 2, you can take all this, either like make them as a, like points like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can make group them and make chapters. But you can ultimately, what we can achieve is build a course. So ultimately what you should aim is to be able to make a small course for the teachers. If your if your state wants you to do it, you should be able to do it, because you have been given all the material and you understand the concept, so that there's nothing that should stop you from making this course. So now that we've made the course, let us, what we will go, what I'll do is I'll go through the different things that we've put together, but I am, see, if I'm making a course, like, the most important things that should be covered, I've put it here. Okay, so we will go through each of this. I will go through each of this. And because we are coming to the end of all the workshop, on assessments, I would like you to ask me, as much questions as possible regarding assessments, so that, because we might not get a chance for another workshop to discuss these points. Parth, can you see the slideshow, or are you still on?
I can see. I can see. Yeah. You're back on the slides.
Back on the slideshow, no? So the main topics we can cover is the purpose of assessments, types of assessments, characteristics of good assessments, and characteristics of good questions, and then different types of questions, and best practices in MCQs only we are going to do, because the best practices in short, the open response and all those things are very minimal. But because MCQ is a new format with which we are all the states are working, even CBSE is working with MCQs in a very proper manner only right now. So we all conducted workshops even for CBSE and for making multiple choice questions. Okay, so we will go through each of these main topics, and I would like it to be a discussion. Okay, so the first question: what is the purpose of assessments? Can we go around the room and check? Each one of you can tell what is the purpose of assessments.
Madam, to understand the learning of student.
Understand the learning of students. Okay.
Teacher can also understand how far his student has gone and what is his achievement, and what remedies or remedial steps have to be taken.
Okay, remedials. Okay. Now let's others. Amit sir, Joshi sir, Pankaj sir. Pankaj sir is very quiet today.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Garima ma'am, please.
Ma'am, according to me, the assessment, the main purpose of assessment is good for teacher also, that she can evaluate whether how far her teaching is successful, and if there is any gap between the teaching, between the desired outcome and the student's learning. So to how to overcome it, I mean, some remedial purpose means what remedies should be taken to
Correct,
fill
correct.
that gap and
Correct.
to evaluate her own teaching practices,
Very nice.
how
Yeah.
far she is successful.
So it's not only to fix the learning of the student, gaps in the learning, to also fix the gap in teaching strategies. Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
means a
Okay,
good
ma'am.
teacher has
May I add?
decided what is the teacher's aim and how much she succeeded in her aim, to measure that gap and to fulfill that gap through some remedies.
Good. Okay. 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 Amit sir, you were saying
Okay.
something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Actually, to set, matlab for a teacher, it's important to set an achievable goal.
Huh.
Because sometimes what happens, we think A goal and we achieve B goal. So there is a mismatching in goals, or if we do not evaluate or assess the exact scenario of students or a learner. So as Garma ma'am said, there can be a gap.
Correct.
So
Correct. Correct.
it
Correct.
helps us to set achievable goals and plan accordingly. Our lessons, our classes, or chapters, or questions. So whatever we do, we plan according to our goals.
Yes. Yes.
So
So we
assessment
want
helps
to.
us
Yeah.
in making achievable goals, setting achievable
Correct. Correct.
goals.
Yeah. So to know whether we have achieved the curriculum goals or not.
Huh?
Ma'am, one more thing I would
Not
like
only
to.
that we have achieved or not, it also helps us to actually for future
Set the
that
goal.
what to set the goals, that okay,
Okay.
what
Got
that
it.
is our goals. And if we have, for example, we have done a diagnostic assessment, so we know that okay, these students can be supported by that method to achieve that goal, and some student can be helped by using that method.
Very
Sir,
nice.
you,
Very
you are
nice. So you have
talking
actually.
about learning outcomes, basically.
Yeah. So Amit sir is gone one step ahead and is
Yeah.
using the understanding by design, where you plan the assessments first with the curriculum, and then moderate the teaching, like plan the teaching accordingly. Very nice,
So
Amit sir.
I thought it's a part of assessment. I think it's an objectives of assessment.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
So that's why I
Correct.
added.
Sure. Sure. Very nice. Others? Joshi sir, Mukesh sir, anything? Pankaj sir.
Even grades are given to the learners through assessments.
Hmm. So it's like a feedback system. So we can give feedback to the students, you're saying, through grades.
Yes.
Okay. Feedback to students. Okay.
As
Okay.
Joshi sir has said here, by
Develop
giving
to measure the cognitive skills also.
Measure cognitive skills also. Yeah. Not just the conceptual skills, but also the cognitive skills.
Cognitive skills.
Ha. Okay. Good. Anything else?
Madam, we are getting important data here on the
Very
score
nice.
through the scores of students here.
Very nice. Data, very important. So with the data only, you can use find out the cognitive skills. You can give feedback to students with the data, you can, actually set the goals for, for the consecutive teaching, and check for any, remedials that needs to be done, all those things. So data is very critical part of assessments. So, yeah, so let's just, I'll go through it. So let's see whether this is what I have put, and we've covered everything, I think, to design remedials, to redesign instructional strategies. First is to check if curriculum goals have been achieved. So a curriculum is given and then we do assessments. We teach and then the assessments tell us whether the curriculum goals have, the learning outcomes have been achieved by students or not. And then, it is a mechanism we provide feedback to students. And while giving feedbacks to students, when we know that the students have certain misconceptions or learning gaps, we can design remedials for that. And in some instances, we might have to adjust our instruction strategies. The teacher might have to, change the instruction strategies. If, like, for example, the entire class has not understood a concept, then we might have to reteach the concept. But if you feel only few students have not understood, then you approach it in a different way. So it gives you a opportunity to redesign the instruction strategies. And very importantly, all the data, like Rajshri ma'am said, the data is very, very important in influencing policy making. For example, like whether the state wants to conduct another diagnostic test to check whether there is other achievement test to check whether there has been any improvement in the learning. What are the education policies that needs to be thought about, any new policy that needs to be brought. So all these things come from the data we get from assessments. So assessment has a very important role in influencing education policies. So we have covered the first topic. Now let's go to the second topic. What are the characteristics of a good assessment? If you have a test paper, how do you say, oh, this test paper is good and this test paper is not good? We use the words good and bad as an overall judgment on the paper, but what is it that makes a test good and what is it that makes a test poor? What do you think is a characteristic of good assessments?
Ma'am, it should have validity.
Very good. Validity. Yeah, we'll take turns. Garima ma'am.
Madam, it should be specific in terms of goal. What exact goals are, what are desired goals?
What are the testing objectives, basically?
Yeah, what are the testing objectives? So that should be specific, that should be clear.
Specific testing objectives, okay. Mukesh sir?
Yes.
I think reliability.
Very nice. All of you have become like Musta. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am. This is Amit.
Yes, sir.
It should cover all cognitive skills.
Okay, it should cover we will say it should have a balanced coverage of cognitive skills. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Joshi sir and Pankaj sir. Okay. So
grade appropriate होना चाहिए.
Okay, grade appropriate. So I'm going to note it down. One second. Purpose of assessment. So I have what all has come now? Validity. Lot of disturbance comes from validity, specific testing objectives. Okay, then reliability, balanced coverage of cognitive skills. Then grade appropriateness. Else you think should be added or? So, yeah, so we have covered, as a group, we have covered everything that is important. Very, very, very nice job. So what I'm going to do now is I'll explain how certain things, can be clubbed together. For example, when we say validity, okay, what we mean by validity is like how accurately it is testing what it is intended to be tested. Suppose it's a reading comprehension test. It should test only reading comprehension and not some other skill. So you cannot be testing reading fluency skill in a reading comprehension test. That's why we keep telling that the readability level should be very grade appropriate. So so suppose in a class 5 reading comprehension test, you use some higher level vocabulary, then it becomes grade inappropriate. It doesn't anymore test. Suppose, okay, you're creating a grade 5 RC test. What are the things that will make this test invalid? Okay, what are the things that will make the test? Suppose the vocabulary is of grade 8, then it becomes invalid. Instead of RC, you're testing reading fluency, then it becomes invalid. So validity actually means how accurately you're testing what you intend to test. If it is a grade 5 RC question, is your test testing at grade 5 level and at the RC? Are you testing RC? These are the two things. So is it testing grade 5 and is it actually testing reading comprehension? If it is not, then it becomes invalid. So actually you can absorb the teaching this thing here for validity. So validity will include your specific testing objectives. Then it will also include balanced coverage. And then it will also include appropriateness. Are you all getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, ma'am.
What we are saying that when an assessment is valid, we are saying yes, it is actually testing what it intends to test, and it is actually testing what it intends to test. So our specific testing objectives should all be related to reading comprehension, balanced coverage of cognitive skills. So you will not be in a reading comprehension test, we will not, there are different skills, right? Recall, interpretation, inference, analysis, and all these things. So in a reading comprehension, so what are the things that a reading comprehension, this thing should cover? Different cognitive skills, that is recall, etc. And also if you're testing reading comprehension, you will not test only, a certain aspect of a text. For example, if it is a story, you will not test only character analysis. You will be testing character analysis, you will test the plot, you will test the theme. We saw in the last workshop what all the different things you can test. So these are the topics. So different topics, and all of them should be at grade level. If you see here, among all these three things, we would have covered all this here. So validity means nothing but, are you exactly testing accurately what you actually intend to test? So you should never deviate from the testing objective. So that's why we keep telling the testing objective should be very clear. It should include a verb, and it should include what the topic, what it is testing. And it is like grade level is given. We should test at the grade level. So this is called validity. What do we mean by reliability? What is something that is reliable? Even in general life, in our day-to-day life, when we say reliability, what do we mean?
I think that
We'll try to inquire this like from a basic point of view. Can we all make a sentence with the word reliable and put it on the chat box? All of you have access to chat box? Can you see my message on the chat box? Give me a thumbs up. The test is reliable. Yeah, but like in a day-to-day life, when do we use the word reliable? An example of those day-to-day life.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
I can hand over the suitcase, the valuable things to the peon because he is very reliable.
So because how do you come to that conclusion that that peon is reliable? Because his track record, consistently, he has shown that kind of reliability, honesty. So consistency is very important, right? If 2-3 people had given 2-3 conflicting reports about the peon, which means he's not been consistent, right? So consistency is a very key this thing. So when we say, something is reliable, what we are actually indicating is that that person will consistently, or that thing will consistently be show the same result. Right? So that's what we mean by consistency. Okay, Amit sir has said, although he is my relative, he's not reliable. In the sense that I cannot trust him. So what Amit sir is again reiterating, Garima ma'am's point is like, it's not trustworthy in the sense there is no consistency. So
Yes,
consistency
means what we expect from him, he is not delivering that.
he is not delivering that because he's not had a track record of that, right?
Of
Basically,
that, so he's not
right?
trustworthy. So I cannot
Yeah.
rely on him.
Yeah, you cannot rely on him because in your past knowledge, you know that he has not produced the desired results.
Yes.
Right? So if he had been consistent in his manner, like consistently delivered, you would say it is reliable. So suppose you take a thermometer, an instrument, a measuring instrument, a thermometer, and you are measuring a certain okay, let's put it like this. Suppose I have a broken clock, okay, a clock that's not working properly. Suppose it is showing me 5 minutes late. The time is 10 o'clock, but it's showing 10:05, and every time it is showing me 5 minutes late. Now it is consistently showing me 5 minutes late, right? Will you call it a reliable this thing? It is reliable, which means it is consistent. But is it valid? Is the time valid?
No.
No. So consistently something can give the same result, that is the 5-minute difference, but the measurement itself is not valid. So some instrument can be reliable in the sense of it gives the same result, but it cannot be a valid result. It is not an accurate result. So it's important to know what is valid, and so for example, the test assessment we create is an instrument. Can we measure a student's knowledge with a assessment tool? So the assessment tool, the test paper, becomes a measuring instrument here. Now, when it is a measuring instrument, it is important that it has these two qualities. One is validity and one is reliability. So when I say reliable, suppose your students, suppose you're taking your class students, okay, you're giving a test to them on a particular chapter, okay, and you receive a set of results, right? And if you give them a similar set of questions, you made a question paper A, okay, and you make a similar set of questions, question paper B, and if you give the same students that question paper B, the results from B should match the results of A. Then only your question paper A can be called reliable. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So reliability means that your question paper is reliable. The results you've got from your question paper, you can show that the same students will perform in the same manner if a similar set of questions are given. Then your question paper is valid. So reliability, validity is being accurate about testing what you want to test, and reliability is that your question paper is reliable because it will consistently show you the same result. It's called the replicability of the result. Okay, so now with a animation, small animation, I will explain how this validity and reliability work. Okay, I will go into the slideshow mode. Can you see the slideshow mode? Can all of you see the slideshow mode, Parth? Or is it in the normal PPT mode?
It is in the
Normal
normal
PPT
PPT
mode.
mode.
Oh, okay. Okay. How about now?
The same.
It's not in the slideshow mode?
No, not yet.
No,
Okay.
it's in this slideshow mode only.
Who is seeing it as slideshow mode?
I can see it.
Parts? Others?
Yeah.
Others can see it in the slideshow mode,
Ma'am,
or
I
is in the
can
PPT?
also see it in slideshow mode.
Okay, fine. So the concept of validity and reliability is clear. How is validity different from reliability? Is that clear to all of you? Are there any doubts in validity and reliability? Okay, I'm just going to explain with an animation as to what a validity and reliability means. Now, characteristic. Valid and reliable. So validity is appropriateness of the measurement tool. Sorry for the spelling mistake. Appropriateness of the measurement tool, and reliability is consistency in the measurement results. Okay. Now, so why these two things are important? Because then your question paper, the assessment becomes a fair assessment, that you are not testing something, which the child was told that they will be tested in grade 5 comprehension, but they got tested in reading fluency or some other logical thinking or things like that. And your paper becomes defensible. So defensibility and fairness are the outcomes of a question paper being valid and reliable. Now so suppose you have a dartboard, okay? Now, can all of you see this thing? Figure?
Yes.
Yeah. So suppose you have a dartboard, and what I mean by valuable is when you're saying you accurately test what you want to test, you will hit the dartboard at the correct target. You want to hit it at the center, right? Which means this is valid. So question number 1 is valid. So we will say each dot, imagine it as a question in a question paper. So now every question should be valid means all the questions should fall at the center. Okay. Now, so what has happened is this question, suppose this entire thing is a dartboard, all your questions are reliable or valid because they all hit the target. Also, every time the question has hit the same spot consistently. Are you getting the point? So every time you made a question, each one was not only valid, but they all went and sat at the same place consistently. So the question paper becomes both valid and reliable. Any questions here? Anybody?
Excuse me, ma'am. What does this defensible means here?
Defensible means, like, suppose, like, for example, the defensibility is legal defensibility. Suppose you make a 10th standard state board paper. Okay, and if if a certain group of people come and file a case saying that this paper is not valid because it is testing out of the curriculum, which means it's not valid. It's not testing what you said will test. Many of the topics are out of the curriculum. So we are filing a case. Then will you be able to show that your paper is actually testing what is in the curriculum? Is it legally defensible? Can you legally defend your paper? So defensibility is, defensibility is how legally can you defend your paper? Can you write a concept note saying to the legal counsel saying my question paper is legally valid, there is no question out of the curriculum? You should be able to defend it. And this is not just from the curriculum perspective. There might be another group which can file a case saying you showed our community in a poor light. Right? At that time, can you prove that no, my paper is fair and it doesn't show any bias and stereotype? So defensibility can be from different points of view, not just from the curriculum. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So now we'll go to valid. So when we are saying valid, like all the questions are testing what it intend to test. So they're all going to the target and consistently. So the paper is both valid and also reliable. That is, they are consistently testing the same objective. Now, when we take another one, let's take another scenario. all the questions, are consistently hitting the same spot, which is one spot. They're all reliable, but none of them are testing the objective. Remember that broken clock example? Every time it will show the time, 5 minutes fast or 5 minutes slow, whatever. Every time it's reliable. The instrument is reliable, but it is not valid because it's not showing the correct time. Let's take another scenario. Now you have so many questions, and some are testing this thing objective, and some are not coming. They're all coming close. Now, what is this scenario? Validity is low because not all of them have come to the target point. And because the validity is low, and it's also not clustered at one point, which means it's not consistently hit a spot like scenario 2 or scenario 1. It has gone a little bit spread. So it has low validity and low reliability. Now then there can be a scenario where it has absolutely no validity and no reliability. None of the questions are consistently giving the same results, nor are they hitting the target. So these 4 scenarios you should keep in mind when you are talking to teachers about validity and reliability. They might not be able to understand it in a very deep level, but you should be able to give them at least a bird's eye view of why they are important and what do they mean. Okay, so this I wanted to cover. Now, so we said the third important points were the types of assessments. Okay, let me take a break here and ask if there are any questions. Any questions so far? And any doubts on validity, reliability? Is it clear what is valid and what is reliable?
Excuse me, ma'am. Could you please explain once FAIR in terms of reliability?
FAIR in terms of reliability is, for example, so if I have to have the reliable result, right? So suppose I give a test, okay, and the test takes place in a very nice room, okay, with a well ventilated room, good sunlight. Okay, that will be like the ambience. Let's not take that. Suppose I give a test. For example, I use a context in which I show a stereotype. Okay, I show people in a very stereotypical manner. What happens is, so the context, suppose it's a grammar question, and the grammar question has a context in which we are using a stereotype. And the child, because of the stereotypical image, probably the child comes from that background, is psychologically affected and is not able to answer that question. Now, what has happened is the test has become a test of not the concept. The something from about the test has prevented the child from answering the question. So it is an unfair. So now the question becomes an unfair question because it has elements of stereotype which has affected the child. Now so the child has performed poorly. But the same grammar question in a different test appears, but without the stereotypical context. And the child is able to perform. Are you understanding, ma'am? Garima ma'am? The example?
Yes, I have understood. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So the next time when the child attends the same concept without the stereotype, the child is able to perform. Now the test has become, your first test has become unreliable. Because now the child has known the concept. In the two tests, it has performed differently. It has become unreliable because the test was unfair. Do you understand? So how unfairness can affect the reliability of the test. Okay. So that is the, yeah. Now, any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. So I'm assuming everybody is super strong and mastered validity and reliability. Anybody else want to add anything, relevant, any relevant points to this discussion? Pankaj sir is not here. Has he dropped off? No, he's there. Pankaj sir, your expert comments, inputs.
I don't know why Pankaj is on hold.
Oh, okay. Is he on a different call or something?
I don't know.
Okay. Mukesh sir, Mukesh sir was the one who said reliability, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you want to add anything on that? Like your understanding of reliability, did it deviate from what was discussed here? Anything you want to add?
Well, I think you have covered all the aspects in this regard.
Okay.
The only thing that I wanted to say was that replicability, that you have already mentioned.
The reliability is associated with replicability. See, that is a concept that comes from any scientific experiment, no? Like suppose I do an experiment and I get a certain result. If somebody else does the same experiment, they also should get the same result with the same manner I did the experiment.
Exactly. There is consistency in it.
Correct, very correct. So these are the keywords: replicability, consistency of results. They all add to they all strengthen your reliability factor.
Yeah, Pankaj sir is back.
Pankaj sir, I think he must have missed. Pankaj sir, were you able to hear us or were you on hold? He's dropped off, I think. Who is there? Pankaj sir, can you hear us? Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else has anything to add? Any difference in opinion? Anything I've missed? Because this will be, I think this will be the last few. I think this is the last workshop, no, Parth, regarding the assessments. After that, it's all data and stuff, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So, anything you want to ask me, please. You can note down your questions and ask me later also. Okay. So now we've done with the characteristics of good assessments. Now let's go to types of assessments. How will you categorize assessments? Any thoughts?
Ma'am, formative assessment,
Huh?
summative assessment, and diagnostic assessment.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just open a slide so that. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see that.
Yeah, okay. I'm now going to type out all of you what you said. Of Garima ma'am is saying. Okay. Diagnostic, formative, summative. Anybody else? Hello? Anybody else? Any other?
I think we go one by one. So let us start with Amit sir, then Joshi sir, then Sikarwar sir, then Rashi ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I don't know that whether it's a blessing or curse to start with A.
It's a blessing, sir. Believe
yeah,
me,
it's always
a blessing. Because even if it's a curse, no, you will get over it the first.
Okay, so you always search a positivity in any form.
That is the only way to live.
We cannot actually alter it, na?
No, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's better to think it in a positive way.
Yes, yes. No,
Okay,
positive is the only way to live. There is no other way to live.
Because
Okay,
curiosity is always there until unless you finish with your job, no? So it's better to finish off earlier.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I think I used to know about these only assessments, types of assessment, but when we were discussing with Rajsi ma'am day before yesterday, or I think 2 days before yesterday, so she told me that there might be one more assessment, the fourth one, and that is, I think, related to the counseling or the interview. Yeah, placement assessment.
Placement assessment. So placement assessment is a sub variety of diagnostic assessment. Like you're trying to check where that So before
we cannot categorize as a fourth one.
So it will be a subtype of a diagnostic. Suppose a student from class 12 is going into college. Okay, and suppose the college is an English medium college and the child is coming out of a vernacular medium. You want to know whether the child is proficient in English to go directly into a English medium course, or does the child need a bridge course in English? Okay, suppose the college course as a bridge course in English. You want to check, should the child be placed in the bridge course, or can the child go straight into the college course? So if you feel the need, then it becomes like a placement assessment.
No. That's why we said that we discussed that. We did not determine that there is fourth one, but we were discussing to gain our knowledge that, okay.
Yeah.
So we were just,
So when you do, suppose you're building this course on assessments and you want to do a chapter on diagnostic, under diagnostic, you can see the different types of diagnostics can be placement assessments, interviews, all those things.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
And not only this, Amit sir, there is going to be this baselining, which is covered under diagnostic. So baselining is basically the process wherein you are taking, the earlier pre test, so that you can assess whether this child should go through bridge or can directly be put into, assessments.
Yes.
No, so baseline. So suppose why we do baseline is so another thing about. So I will just go here and I will type it out. So under diagnostic. So under diagnostic, we can say. Under diagnostic, we can say placement. Baseline test. What is a baseline test? Baseline test is like, you do a test when the school session starts to know the current learning level of the child. Okay. And then at the end of the course, you do that's a different one. It's called an end-line test. So once the course is over, you do an end-line test. To see what is the progress that has happened from baseline to end line. So the baseline test is sort of a diagnostic test. Understand?
This could be, taken up by, bucketing the students also. whether they have got A skills, whether they have got B skills available. What is going to be the level which they are not pursuing right now and can be taken up lately. So this could be through bucketing also, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
diagnostic
it has
test.
been done by the state government. It has been applied in recent years by the
Yeah,
state government in different classes.
correct. Yeah. So diagnostic can take many forms. It can be a placement test, it can be a baseline test, or it can be just like an interview to check, whether the child is enough, has mastered suppose the child is going to class 5, you want to test if the class 4 concepts are clear for the child so that it can understand the class 5 concepts well. So it can be for, different reason, but basically before something starts, before the teaching itself starts, you want to do the diagnostic test. Okay. So,
Pre-test also before the and workshops.
pardon?
Ma'am, so the pre-test also comes under this diagnostic test before the trainings and workshops, the
Yes.
pre-test which is taken.
It's for all types of learning, adult learning, child learning, everything. Diagnostic is irrespective of diagnostic is a type of test. It doesn't tell to whom and when and where and all. Like it is a diagnostic which happens before learning happens, so that the instructor knows the level of the child. Suppose imagine you become the teacher of a class 11 which is very new to you. You've not worked with the students at all before. Okay, and you start teaching class 11 concepts, but then the children are failing very badly in the classroom test. Then it tells you that your class 11 students are not at class 11 and you've been teaching class 11 to students who don't have the uh, class 10 concepts correct. So if you had done a diagnostic test before the class started, you would have known, okay, my children are not at class 11 level. So better let me do a refreshment course of class 10 and then start. So diagnostic test is very like even in the classroom it can be used to gauge the learning level of the entire class. Otherwise, you will be, wasting everybody's time, the children's time and your own time, teaching a concept for which the children are not ready for. Right? So diagnostic is very useful in that manner. Okay. Any other test you can think of other than diagnostic, formative and summative?
So we have got Joshi sir to tell something. Joshi sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually,
Yes, sir.
simultaneously, I've been actually today NCC training was there in my school.
Okay.
Oh,
So बीच बीच में जो है वो टीचर्स आते थे जो वहां से स्टाफ आया था वो मुझे बार बार डिस्टर्ब करता था. So मैं फुली इसमें ट्रेनिंग नहीं ले पाया हूं अभी तक. मैं अभी फ्री हुआ हूं.
okay. So you're
हाँ.
taking the call from the school?
Yes, today.
Okay.
So we'll send across the PPT users so that you can go through it, and since you are present now, so you can participate. So we are just talking about this types of assessments.
Yeah, I have got these points: a diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments, and an instructive assessment होता है, instructional assessment. One more type is there, or it is included in these three?
Instructional assessment will be formative assessment. Basically, when you start. So diagnostic will be before you start the teaching, and formative will be like when you're teaching, when you're like teaching your class. Like suppose you're doing a chapter test after some instructional the material. You want to check whether your children have understood that chapter. That suppose you've taught chapter 1. You want to check whether they have. So you do a chapter test. So
Okay.
it's kind of like associated with your instruction.
Instruction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll briefly go into the this thing. Hold on. Can you see my slideshow?
Am I allowed to speak something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay, no.
Please.
I'm just saying that the all three actually assessment is just going through in the same time that we are just being trained. Diagnosis assessment that when we were provided the previous pre-test, and formative assessment that when Bindu ma'am and Parth sir are asking question that whether we have learned or not, what does that mean, what other things include in assessment or such things. And we when we get the post test at 4 o'clock or the other day, that will be summative assessment. Is it so or not?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, correct.
So the entire battery of assessments
Yes,
working on the same day.
on the same day.
Yeah, very good observation. Yeah. Okay. So all of you can see my slide, right? Okay. So this and all we've gone through. Reliability and validity. Then we are going to types of assessments. So types of assessments, first of all, this diagnostic, formative and summative all come from the role an assessment play. Like what are you expecting assessment to do for you? Okay, so there are three roles for assessment. So the nomenclature we give diagnostic, formative and summative arise from the role of assessment. Those are outcomes of the purpose to which you put the assessments through. Okay, so the role of assessment, like one, it can be, we can say these three aspects are very important. So you might want to take note of it. One is assessment as learning. What does assessment as learning mean? It means that the student himself, okay, or herself takes and does a self-assessment. So when the student is reflecting on their own on their own learning, mastery, and everything, the student is using, self-assessment as a tool. So when we say assessment as learning, it means that the student is doing self-reflection, self-monitoring. So it is completely coming from the student's side. So this we call assessment as learning. And then the next preposition that is used is assessment for learning. What does assessment for learning means is like when the learning is happening, when the teacher is teaching, there are certain points at which the teacher wants to stop and check whether learning has happened. So when you are not going to judge the child, you're not evaluating the child, you're not giving them grades, nothing. But for you to know how much learning has happened, you do assessments and you see the learning progress of the child. So when you see the learning progress of the child and you feel, oh, 20% of my kids don't know how to find the main theme of a story. Or you say 50% of the kids do not know how to use past perfect tense, right? Then you will immediately go and readjust your teaching priorities. So what you're basically doing with assessments at that point in time, you're using it as a tool to check learning. That's why then it becomes assessments for learning. So when the teacher adjusts the teaching strategies to remediate and differentiate. What does differentiate mean? If you think that 10% of the class needs, more closer attention, and so you give them that much attention. And if you feel like, okay, 80% of the kids have understood it, I just need to do a revision with it. then you do only revision. So you adjust your different strategies according to the needs of the children. Then it becomes assessments for learning. Now the third role of assessment is assessment of learning. This happens at the end of the course when you have finished all the teaching and you want to determine what is the student's learning level, whether all the curriculum goals have been achieved. So this is at the system. This is the final examination, the board examination, we can say, which is determining the student's level. You are assessing, the assessment becomes of learning. So these are three very well-known phrases in the assessment industry. When they say, are you using assessment as learning, for learning, of learning, it means different things. The roles are very different. Is this clear? Any questions I can take on this?
No, not actually anything unclear, but I just want to add one, means clarify
Sure,
one thing.
Sure.
That for learning can come under formative assessment.
Yes, exactly.
We can describe it in that way.
Yes, it is a formative assessment.
Okay, thank you.
And off learning is summative assessment.
Yes.
Off learning.
Off learning will be
So,
summative.
As
See now
learning will be diagnosed.
As learning can be diagnostic. See, as learning can happen throughout the course because it's up to the student, right? So they can self-monitor at any point in time. The student is doing the thing. The student is the main stakeholder there, whereas in formative, teacher is the main stakeholder and education system itself is the main stakeholder of the summative. Garima ma'am, is that clear?
Like for example, we have mocks.
Yes.
Mocks basically are self-assessment tools, and there are various online tests available where you can easily log in and have your learning done, and there is going to be test followed immediately after that. So this is going to be self-assessment tools.
Yeah. So you see, you are able to intuitively connect for learning to formative and off learning to summative. So that's the level of understanding and mastery that you have now come to, which is the actual objective of the workshops, all these workshops. And it wouldn't have happened at the end of the second workshop or the third workshop. So that continuously you immerse in that learning, then it becomes your knowledge. Yeah, is this clear?
Yes, it is clear. As for example, we can say that when we and Rajshri ma'am were discussing the fourth type, so-called fourth type, so it could be as learning.
Yeah.
We just so that can be called as learning, na?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's coming to the types of. Now, when we say again the types of assessment, first we said what is the role it is playing. Second, it can come from the point of view of what are we checking, right? Now, if you are checking the learning level or the current learning level, we can use assessments to check. One of the things we can check is the pre and the current learning levels. So this becomes a diagnostic test and the baseline test. Now, when you want to check the progress of the student, right, then it becomes a formative test. We just discussed all these things in detail. And then when you want to recheck, suppose you have done a remedial for the student. So suppose you've given a formative test and you found that 80% of your kids have not understood a concept and you've retaught that concept. Now you want to recheck whether the children have understood the concept. Okay, that recheck is called an ipsative test. This is a new term you would come across, not very widely used term, but it is important that assessment experts know this term. It's called an ipsative test. Now, when you want to check if the learning goals have been attained, then you do the summative test or the inline test. So you can see the different, how all the different tests kind of align with the purpose of the test, and how the purpose of the test aligns with the roles of the test. So it gives you an overall picture of how these work together, the role, the purpose, and what are the different. So the names like diagnostic, baseline, formative, these are all just nomenclature. But these are all very tightly tied to the role and purpose of a test. Is it clear? Any doubts that I can clarify? Okay. So now going to the, okay, one more test, sorry, I forgot. So up to the summative test is one type, it's all coming in the learning cycle. There is one more test which is like to determine mastery. So this is, the test like you heard about Olympiad, Are you all familiar with the Olympiad test? Science Olympiad, Math Olympiad.
Yes.
Yeah. So those all come under a specific test called, standardized tests, or they are also called achievement tests.
And what about this PISA? PISA also comes under this head only?
PISA is a standardized test, but it doesn't test mastery. I should not be calling it standardized test. It's more like an achievement test, but in a standardized form. PISA is like basic literacy and this thing. They don't test mastery. So these are the different types of tests. Now, when you see, diagnostic test, baseline test, summative and standardized test, these tests are usually used to make formal decisions on policy at school level, organization level, country level. For example, PISA is a, international test which is given to different countries. So if India is not performing well in the test, then the Indian government might think, what is the real problem with our students? If all the international students are performing well in PISA and India is not performing well, what is the changes we need to make at the policy level? So these tests kind of have policy implications. Okay, so that's why they can be bunched together and they can be called as a high stakes test, because they might have, suddenly the organization might say, okay, our students seem to be performing very poorly, and now we will assess the schools and we will penalize schools that do not perform well. So that has a direct implication on the stakeholders. So these are high stakes tests. Now the other tests like formative test and ipsative test, they are used by teachers in classroom situations to make informal decisions. Decisions as to, should I change my teaching practices? Should I, teach learning strategies to students? How should I go about, helping students master concepts? So these are made to these tests are focused on making informal decisions on teaching and learning practices, and they are kind of a low stakes test. Any questions on this?
When we take high stake test, it means at large level, at greater level, at higher level, and low stake test means that is not, at higher level. Is it?
Correct. A higher level means, what do we mean by higher?
Higher means like at state level or at bigger level where many people are influenced because of that decision.
Correct.
It's
a large scale level. The large scale.
At large scale, yes.
Yeah, it can be used. For example, diagnostic can be used for large scale and a small scale informal level also. So though these are broadly categorized, keep the purpose in mind. For example, if even a small scale tuition teacher can do a diagnostic test. Suppose a tuition teacher gets two students for whom she has to tutor. Okay, she might want to know like at what level they are before she starts teaching. So it can be a low stakes also. Just keep the purpose in mind before you uh, kind of categorize it very tightly.
Garima madam, as per my understanding, and correct if I am wrong, this has nothing to do with the grades. It has all to do with the purpose. Now my purpose is to have formal decision policy. Then in that case, I'll be taking high stakes. And internally, if I want to make something with respect to informal decision on teaching and learning practices, then in that case it is going to be low stakes. So this is my decision. So normally high stake means it has to be through government only, and low stakes means that you have to take your own decisions.
Not just governments, it can be at the organization. Suppose a group of a school which has like 20 branches, okay, and if they find that some branches are not doing well, right? Then as an organization also they can do a diagnostic, even at a
correct.
school level. But it's not at a like particular. I mean, it can be done at any level, but just as Parth said, if it has high implications, right? No, to check whether a big population is out of sync with the curriculum and things like that, then it becomes high stakes immediately. So keep the purpose in mind. As Parth said, the purpose kind of drives the high stakes and the low stakes.
We can sum up in that way that high stakes is for larger group of population of the same kind of a group.
Correct. Yeah.
We can say that in that way, that belongs to the same category or same kind, and that covers a large scale of population, or means not population, those who are taking part in it. So it covers all of these altogether.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Because
Amit, sir,
automatically it means like, no, if you're doing it in a large scale, automatically it means that it has, serious implications, right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Parth sir
Because
want to
nobody
suggest
will
something.
spend.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Amit sir,
Because if a
normally
state is going to
this,
spend that much resources, they will want specific insights on what is happening in the state, right?
so Amit sir, this is normally the way, but it could be for a smaller, group also.
Yes. It can be only a school also. But means a school or a particular organization can handle it for itself. Means an autonomous college or a private school, if it want to change its policy, means I just means a particular group as a whole.
Yes. Normally this is the practice till now. Reason being that we are following the same thing over a period of
Large
time.
scale does not mean that so many of the people, but large scale means a particular combination of a group that belongs to the same category or same kind.
Yeah. So we need to understand the purpose. For what purpose we are taking up the assessments.
By and large, it affects the whole group when it is about high stakes.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. The teachers can be penalized. The organized school, certain
not penalized. They can be praised also.
Penalized and encouraged also, right?
Yes,
like if they say if they have certain amount, if the state has like X amount of funds, and if they want to allocate funds to different schools, they might allocate funds to poor performing schools also, or they may say like we will withdraw funds from non-performing schools, or probably club the schools together. Like there are like a lot of decisions they can make based on the results.
Since whatever decision is just being made, it is for that particular whole group.
Yes, yeah. The implications
whether it is good or it is bad, it will affect the whole group.
Yes. It will affect the stakeholders in a serious manner.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the types of assessments we were talking about. Now we will go to the other main topics. One is the characteristics of good questions. After characteristics of a good assessment, characteristics of a good question. So for this, Okay. Okay. So we have gone through this many times. So are you seeing the slide or the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
It's
It's
PPT.
visible.
PPT, is it?
Yeah.
Characteristics of good questions. So we've gone through this many times. So I will just go through it like a dry laundry list. One is it should test a skill or concept that is worth understanding. Okay. So it's very, very important that that we do not test trivial things, and the concept that should be core to the curriculum. The curriculum itself is a wide, collection of concepts. So we cannot, in a particular test, we cannot test each and every concept. You will have to make a choice what to test. And when you're making a choice what to test, you have to choose wisely. So all those concepts that are very core to that particular grade needs to be filtered out and tested. Now, second thing is the questions should be interesting and they should stimulate thinking. So automatically here when we say stimulate thinking, Rajshri ma'am, you said Bloom's taxonomy. This is where Bloom's taxonomy will come. Okay, so that when you have to stimulate thinking, what we are saying is different cognitive skills are there. It's just not memory. Along with memory, there is inference skills, there is analytical skills, then there is evaluation skills and comprehension skills, synthesizing information. So all those skills come, you have to stimulate all the different skills. That's why we say a question paper should not be narrowly focused on a particular cognitive skill. So whenever we do multiple choice questions, you will see that many people who are not experienced in creating multiple choice, they'll end up testing recall skills more. So if there is an over-representation of recall skills, our question paper itself will become invalid. So it's important to use Bloom's taxonomy to make the question paper interesting and in order to stimulate thinking. Third one is be exclusive. Yeah, so Rajshri ma'am, I think, said that. I don't know whether Rajshri ma'am or Garima ma'am said. It should be exclusive in the sense like each question should test a specific objective. We should not overlap objectives like two questions. Yes, ma'am?
Excuse me, ma'am. Your slide is not visible to me.
Is this the same to others? Parth, can you see my slide?
Yeah, I can see your
Yes,
slide.
it is. We can see. I think that the such problem appears when there is a call or there is a
The bandwidth issue.
discontinuity in the internet.
Bandwidth
So,
issue.
yes.
So Garima madam, my only request is just wait for a second, come out at such a place where you can find more connectivity.
Or you can try logging out and logging in. That
Yes.
might also work.
Yes.
Yeah. Just log off and log in.
Okay, ma'am, I'm trying again.
Sure.
Okay.
So it should be interesting and it should stimulate thinking and it should be exclusive. And yeah, the important thing is it should test what is intended to be tested. And especially with multiple choice questions, the question itself should be designed in order to trap any misconceptions or learning gaps the child might have. So, and then we've gone through all the review points should be error free. So there are a lot of remember the 37 review points we went through last time. So all those can be applied here. Characteristics of a good question. Okay. Shall we wait for Garima ma'am to come? Start 1 minute.
She has joined already.
Oh, she has joined already. Okay, fine, good.
Garima madam, can you see these slides? Bandwidth issue.
I think it's the connection. It's the connection issue.
Connectivity
No,
issue.
sir. Now also I cannot see.
Oh. Maybe it's a bandwidth, ma'am. I think
Hmm. Just wait for some time, Garima madam.
Okay. So Garima madam, I will not skip any point on the slide. I will read out everything so that you don't miss it. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. That would be really good idea.
Yeah. So I was just
I know,
I was just capturing the key characteristics of a good question. First is like it should test as concept or skill that is worth testing in a curriculum. It should be interesting and it should stimulate thinking. So for which we use the Bloom's taxonomy. And each question should be exclusive when testing a specific objective. And every question should test what it intends to test. Like, for example, a reading comprehension question should not be testing general knowledge or things like that. And every question, especially multiple choice questions, should give insights into a student's misconceptions or learning gaps. And every question should be error-free. This error-free point we discussed with the 37 review checklist last time. Okay. So now when we said a question should test a skill or concept that is worth understanding, remember we had a workshop on understanding by design. Yeah. So in that understanding by design workshop, we used that nested rings to segregate, to categorize concepts which are into 3 buckets. Okay. So when there is like a curriculum has a lot of content that is being taught, and you have to make a choice on what to test. Okay. So the questions to ask is like, no, what should students know, understand, and be able to do after going through a particular instructional course? And what are the enduring understanding that are required for this topic? So that's why we use the understanding by design framework, the nested design. I hope you all remember this. We spent 2 days on this, worth being familiar with, important to know to and do, and enduring understanding. So what we mean by enduring understanding is that those anchoring concept, in a topic, the big ideas that we want students to retain even after the course is completed. And what is important to know and do, that the basic skills, facts, concepts, knowledge that the student should have in order to perform a particular task. And worth being familiar is like what the students basically should want to know or learn on their own after we finish teaching the course. That is like nice to have concept, do research on a concept and things like that. This, I think we did it with an example for adjectives also. So if you are teaching adjectives, did we go through this, that adjectives like what is enduring understanding, what is important to know and do, and worth being familiar with? Anybody can recall? Garima ma'am, Ratri ma'am, anybody recall? Understanding by design. Ratri ma'am.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Very feeble ma'am, but you can tell.
Okay, ma'am, now?
Now is better.
Yeah. Ma'am, actually, I don't recall very much, but I think we go backwards. First, we want to know uh, we go reverse, I think. What our teacher, what our student want to learn. We
Yes.
just map that, yeah,
That is the process. That is a framework process for understanding work design, where you first write down the results of the course, and then you build the assessments, and then you plan the teaching. That is the reverse backward strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when you are teaching, there are three bucketed things. One is the enduring understanding. One is important to know and do, and one is being worth being familiar with. So when you're saying, suppose you're teaching adjectives, okay, the enduring understanding that students should know is that there are special words that are used to describe objects, living organisms, people, places, and situations. These are the enduring understanding, and we can use these words to make our vocabulary more robust and more colorful. Adjectives make any conversation more vibrant. So these are the enduring understandings. When it comes to important to know and do in adjectives, what are the different descriptive words in a sentence? In which order do we put the descriptive words? What are the specific words to describe quality, quantity, and number of things? So these are all important to know and do. Now, when you say worth being familiar with, there are things that it is nice to know, but not very critical to know. So, how adjectives can be misused in common daily life by people, how people use adjectives to mislead people, and what are the origins of adjectives. These are things that nice to know as by one's own research, but for the curriculum, they are not very core. Okay. Any doubts in this?
Ma'am, we will have to go again through the UBD, I think, because we haven't touched it recently, so forgotten so many things about it.
So
I think we
yeah,
need to refresh it. Yeah.
yeah. No, that UBD workshop was about the entire framework, like the backward design of teaching. Whereas here we are just taken one aspect of UBD as to how to classify the different concepts in a topic. How will you choose? How will you decide which is enduring understanding? How will you know something is important to know and worth being familiar with? So that workshop was like a 2 day, like a huge workshop which did a lot of things on UBD. So this is just classifying concepts as to core concepts which need to be tested. Okay. Any other questions here? Okay. So when we go back, we said two important things. Test a skill or concept that is worth testing. And then second point, be interesting and stimulate thinking. So for that point, we use Bloom's taxonomy, which we did a very detailed session in the last workshop, the Bloom's taxonomy. So why is it important to test different cognitive skills, like stimulate different levels of thinking, higher and lower order levels? Remember, we went through this. Make test authentic, similar to real life learner. In the real life, a learner will not encounter only recall based situations. There will be situations where the child will be demanded to think at different levels. So our test also should reflect or replicate that kind of tasks, and it also it is also used to see if the instructional objectives have been met. For example, if you have an instructional objective of analyzing a story, and analysis of a story involves different cognitive skills, so you will be able to test if a particular instructional objective has been met or not using the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy, all of you know, we did a very, very thorough session on Bloom's taxonomy last time. So I will not go through it again. Okay. How much time do we have now?
We have got 5 more minutes to go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
We can extend for 10-15 minutes more. No problem.
Okay. Is everybody okay with another 10 minutes? Because I thought like, no, we will go. I asked you to read the passages because I thought we will review at least one passage. Is it okay if we extend it by 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am, it's fine.
Fine.
Yes,
And
ma'am. It's okay. Yes.
yeah, can you all choose which passage you want to review? Have you all read the two passages, or is there anybody who's not read the passages?
Ma'am, the second one.
Second one?
Yeah.
All of you,
Because we have,
have read the second one?
ma'am, that's an analytical one. Yeah. Like we
Yeah.
I
want
have
to
read the
have
first
that
one. First one I have read.
Okay. Anybody else who's all the others have read any of the passages? Amit sir? Mukesh sir?
Ma'am, I have read both.
You've read both? Amit sir?
Pardon me, I haven't read neither.
You've not read anything? Pankaj sir? Okay.
Okay. Pankaj sir, are you there?
I wanted to discuss the Bloom's taxonomy also, but we don't have time for that. Oh, different types of questions. I think different types of questions, I think all of you are familiar with, advantages and disadvantages. And I think this and all, I'm sure you know. It was just a recap for all those things. Best practices, review checklist. So if, because reading the passage will take time, so I don't think we will be able to finish it in 5-10 minutes. So I think, can I give this as a homework then for today? Parth, we'll take this up as a homework for today then?
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all of you, passage 2, I'm going to just.
Sure.
Yeah, Bindu, one blunder from my side. We have got 1 hour to go. Sorry. I'm extremely sorry. I missed on the timing.
You're sure?
Yeah. We have this workshop till 2. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the time. I thought it's 1:59 already.
That's what I was thinking. I covered only like 7 slides, and how come it's 2 hours? Like,
Fault on my side. Extremely sorry.
so totally 3 hours, right?
Yeah. I've just seen the watch.
Okay, fine. Then let's do the review then. Okay, cool. So, who is Mukesh sir? Which Rajshri ma'am said second one. So can we go with the second one, Mukesh sir?
Actually, ma'am, I'm fine with both the passages. I think you can ask rest of our members
Okay.
because I've
No,
gone through
because
both
the
the
rest
passages.
rest of the members have not read the second one. So, actually the first one is more like a narrative, and we've seen more, we've already like analyzed narratives. The second one is analytical. So I think it would be good to go through a different type. So we'll do the analytical one, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. So I will show this thing on. Can you all see the slideshow mode?
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah.
We can see that. Yeah.
Garima ma'am can't see? Garima ma'am can't see, right? So Garima ma'am, we will get people to read it so that you can listen to the. You will also have that document with you on WhatsApp, I think.
Yes.
Oh, but you're on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I heard.
Ha. So we will do the second passage along with the questions. We will analyze the questions. So can we get, because Mukesh sir has already read. Rajsi ma'am, you've read the passage, no? The second one?
Ma'am, not the whole passage, just first 3-4 lines.
Okay.
But we can do the exercise. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
think-
So I think we will read this passage aloud. We'll take turns to read the passage. Ma'am, Rashi ma'am, can you then start the reading the passage? Like probably you can read 4 lines and then pass it on to somebody else in the team. They can
Okay, ma'am.
continue.
Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So when you read it, kind of read it slowly so that Garima ma'am is able to take notes, or she.
Ma'am, the passage is not visible on your slide, I think. Your slide is still showing us characteristics of good question.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Let me check. Why am I- Can you see this now?
Yes, ma'am. Now
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, Rashmi ma'am, you start reading, and we need to cover the entire passage. So you can ask somebody else to read wherever you think fit. But whoever is reading, read slowly so that Garima ma'am is able to follow what is being read.
Okay, ma'am. Over the last 5 years, more companies have been actively looking for intern profiles. According to a 2018-19 survey by an online internship and training platform, this survey reveals that India had 80% more internship applications, with 2.2 million applications received in 2018 compared to 1.27 million in the year before. The trend was partly due to more industries looking to have fresh minds and ideas on existing projects for better productivity. What was originally seen as a Western concept, getting an internship before plunging into the job market, is fast gaining momentum at Indian workplaces. I would tag Mukesh sir to read the next line.
Thank you, Rajeshri ma'am. Para second. According to the survey data, India's National Capital Region has been the top provider of internships with a total of 35% internship opportunity, followed by Mumbai at 20% and 15% respectively. This includes opportunities in startups, MNCs, and even government entities. The survey also revealed popular fields to find internship in figure 1. There is a figure 1 on the right hand side. Uh, there has been growing awareness among the students about the intern profiles sought by hiring companies that often look for people with real time experience in management than B school masters. Amit sir, can you go next?
Mukesh sir, are you asking me?
Yes.
I heard Pankaj sir. Okay. Sorry, and thank you. The, okay, the third paragraph. The stipend has been an important factor influencing the choice of internships. The survey data reveals that the average stipend offered to interns was recorded as 7,000 rupees 7,000, while the maximum stipend went up to 85 rupees 85,000. According to the statistic, a greater number of people considered virtual internship than in-office internships. Virtual internships got 3 times more application than in office, since a large chunk of students were the ones already enrolled in various courses or preferred working from home. So for the fourth para, I would just tag Mr. Pankaj sir. Pankaj sir, can you hear me?
Parth, is he still on hold?
No, Pankaj sir is there. I don't know what has happened. So today there is absolutely zero participation from Pankaj sir. Huh?
Okay, so I would just request Joshi sir to, if he is free from his camp, so if he can read it.
Thank you, Gupta ji.
Hello,
Okay.
hello, hello, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible
Pankaj
sir.
Mishra.
Yeah, Pankaj sir. Carry on, please.
Uh, okay. Internship portals have sprung up in the last 3 to 4 years, and many of them already report healthy traffic per month. Reports suggest that an average or internship portal company has around 200,000 plus students and some 8,000 companies registered on it. It gets around 2 lakh.
Is he taking the call from school?
I don't know. I think
No, ma'am, he is free from school. He is absolutely free from school.
Ah, okay.
I think Joshi
The
sir
managing
can.
director,
Yeah,
the
carry on.
managing director of a leading executive search firm says that though these web platforms are working as an effective bridge between the industry and students, most established companies are still reluctant to take too many interns on board for obvious reasons. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Garima ma'am, were you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am. Now even I can see the slide also. I
Oh,
actually
very
came
good.
back to my class as it is the lunchtime. So now I'm
Ah.
able to see the slide.
Oh, okay, fine. Good. Very good. So you were able to see the graph also?
Yes, ma'am, I can see.
Okay, fine. So then we can discuss the questions. Garima ma'am, can you read the question?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. So the question number 11 is select the correct inference with reference to the following. Over the last 5 years, more companies have been actively looking for intern profiles. The options are A. The past 5 years have seen active applications by interns to several companies. B. The activity for intern profiling by the companies has reached a gradual downslide over the past 5 years. C. There were lesser companies searching for intern profiles earlier as compared to those in the recent 5 years. And D is several companies have initiated intern profiling 5 times a year in the recent past.
This is a class 12 CBSE paper. Is this, just for my understanding, is this like a too high a question for MP level? What do you think about, you know, the alignment to the MP learning levels? Is it like on par at class 12, or do you think that, what do you see? Your students will be able to answer, a class 12 student? What do you think, sir, Amit sir? How difficult or easy is this a question for class 12 MP students? I can't hear you, sir. Path, can you hear her?
No. Amit sir, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, what were you asking, ma'am?
No, I'm asking this question is a CBSE class 12 question.
Okay.
Do you think that is it like MP students class 12 will be able to answer this question? Is it like a high level question?
A
Is
bit
it
high
like a,
for them. Means if we get the information through a diagnostic test, I think it's a bit difficult for them.
okay, okay. Rajshri,
Although I
ma'am?
have not gone through the whole passage, but whatever I have read right now, through it, I can just answer that.
Okay, okay. Rajshri, ma'am, what do you think?
May I actually?
Yes, sure, sure.
Actually, the question is has been framed on only the line of the passage, and here learners are supposed to extract the inference from this line.
Hmm.
So, from MP students' point of view, it is not a bit difficult, but it is very difficult for them to find it out.
In the way the options have
Because
been
such
formed.
questions, actually, even teachers have not been practicing framing such questions for their students, because the tradition was that such questions should not be there. Actually, questions should be there. Students can easily find out from the passage, and students have been practicing it for a long time. So if you put such question in such scenario, certainly it is very difficult for them.
Okay, got it. So you're saying the way the practice has been, the teaching and learning practice has been in MP, these questions won't work.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because CBSE, most of the class 12 questions when I saw, I felt like they were very, uh, like only like private school kids can answer those questions. And the feedback I actually gave to CBSE was these are like very, and every question in that paper was almost to this level. So in our feedback was it was like a very high level test, and I don't know how accessible it is for the entire government school population. Rajshri ma'am, any thoughts?
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
No, there's some problem with my microphone.
So,
Yeah, ma'am, I think we should use these analytical passages in our question papers. And we have started doing this recently in 11th class and 12th class.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So MPS also requires now for you to use analytical passages?
Ma'am, it was there in our blueprint last time, but now blueprint is again changed. And now again we are not, we haven't been, we are not supposed to use analytical passages.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
But
in
I
that
think,
view, so in that case, should we think that we should analyze the questions to the other passage so that it's more relevant to what you do?
yes, ma'am, we can do that. Because such type of passages and questions, they are asked in competitive exams. Students are supposed to face after their 12th class examination. And now my daughter is in fourth semester, fifth semester engineering. She is also preparing for such types of passages because in this type of questions are asked in campus selection also. Yeah. So I think we need to prepare students for such type of analytical passages. It's important. So
Correct.
we should include these passages in our question
Yes,
papers.
that is definitely there. That is like a policy level decision on assessment blueprint and all. So who makes a blueprint and all for the assessments in MP?
That is a very distinguished statement, so we would be keeping ourselves quiet for that, actually.
Oh, it's a confidential matter, is it?
No, not confidential. It's
Ah.
not confidential.
No,
See,
no.
as per my
I'm
Bindu, as per my
asking from a
See, as per my
point of view.
understanding, this Madhya
Ah.
Pradesh assessment cell is basically established with a view that there is going to be this diagnostic assessment going on for a period of time. Initially, this MP, this DA has to be taken up by us. Second year, it has to be done by MPAC and onwards. Basis success, this is an ongoing process. Point number two, so we have got this MP board also, which is preparing questions for 10th and 12th. They have got their separate, assessment experts. Those are preparing the question, and they have got surprising. They have got a different blueprint right now.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am,
Okay.
one more thing.
Hmm.
Okay, I agree with Rajshri ma'am. Okay, that there must be such passages, but as we discussed that when we have the diagnostic test, so when we check the ability of the students, right now they are not at that level that they can be poured that sort of passages directly. So first they should be prepared for such passages, and for that is a long process. A long process means we have to build a curriculum. We have to make a curriculum. We have to make some policies. We have to make some harsh decision or some precise decision, rather to say, so that they can be brought up to that level. But right now they are not up to that mark that they can solve such sort of passages. There must be such passages. That is why we are working here. But for now, it is as Joshi sir mentioned, that it is a very high level for them, because they are not ready for that, those sort of passages. So I think before giving such passages, first we should prepare them for such passages, or we just increase their knowledge and skills, and all the skills that we are just sought to have in a student. Then we can pour such information or in such questions. But without giving such information or such knowledge, we cannot pour these things directly.
Okay, fine.
Otherwise,
So in that case,
it will be a sort of injustice to them.
Yeah, correct. So in that case, so though we agree that this is a very vital skill to have right now, because it's not in practice, in the teaching practice, we will avoid it. So shall we discuss the other passage then? That would be probably much more relevant to what you're doing right now.
I think we can continue this one, because okay, this is a bit higher level, but we can actually review the questions, whether they are up to the mark or not, where they have those.
Okay.
I'm just suggesting. I'm
no
just,
problem.
but
I'm okay with anything.
There are some other people who can, as Mukesh sir, Joshi sir, Pankaj sir, Rajshri ma'am, Garma ma'am, Parth sir, all of you can. I'm just sharing that we can even review the questions.
You are very correct. Since we are representing this Madhya Pradesh assessment cell, for obvious reasons we are going to get the chances wherein we are preparing papers, probably second year onwards, wherein we can always go back and suggest government that this should be included, this should be excluded. So that chance we are going to have for sure.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So in that case, we will continue with the questions then in this passage.
I think all of my sagacious colleagues will answer that. They will suggest. I have just put my thoughts on it.
Rajshri ma'am, you're okay for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Garima ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Joshi sir? Joshi sir, can you hear us?
Yeah. Ma'am, yes.
Yes, Mukesh sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all of you are ready. Pankaj sir, I don't know whether he can hear us. So I'm assuming now that the majority said yes. So do you want to take turns and tell what are the issues with this question?
Ma'am, I would like to go first because I'm scared of Amit sir.
Uh,
Ma'am, I
What
think
I have done wrong, ma'am? मतलब,
no. He has not done anything wrong.
actually, God has gifted me a cacophony and a ugly face, so that is a manufacturing defect. I cannot modify it.
No, sir.
No. I
No.
wasn't
You have
referring
always
to
been
that.
aspiring,
I wasn't
aspiring to
referring
us.
to that. You got very pleasant face. Uh,
Thank you for being so generous.
no. I was just referring to your skills. Yeah, I envy you for them. Yeah, shall I read the question, ma'am? I
yes,
think the
ma'am.
stimulus which is given below, it should come first. Over the last
Okay.
5 years, yeah, more
The
companies
formatting you're talking.
yeah, formatting show. Yes, standard what we have learned that standard question is not there. It doesn't have question WH word. It should
So the
have,
formatting
yeah,
is fine. Which of
formatting.
the
Yeah.
you put the sentence first and then ask which of the following inferences can be derived from the above sentence.
Yes, ma'am. Now I invite my other teammates to do.
Yeah. So if you can give insights on like the options, if any options can be improved, if you think that the options are too wordy, things like that. Are there like scope to improve the options? Is there a correct option? Ma'am, Rashmi ma'am, you will have to choose. You have to tag to somebody, otherwise it will be like completely quiet.
Madam, I would like to tag Joshi sir for this.
Joshi sir. If you think this passage is too complicated and the questions are also too complicated, we can shift to the other passage. I have no issues with that also.
We should actually take a try.
Okay, fine, no problem. I'm
MP
okay.
will do that.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am, may I?
Yes, ma'am. Garima ma'am.
I mean, I think third and fourth options are quite, give the same meaning. So that is, I think, they're defective. Because in third option also it is given there were lesser companies searching for intern profiles earlier as compared to those the recent 5 years. And the D option says several companies have initiated intern profiling 5 times a year in the recent past.
So
So
you
I
saying
think
that
both
both
of
are.
them give the same.
Okay.
Madam, I think B option is clear cut the out one. Nobody will select this one because gradual downslide over the past 5 years. So it will definitely exclude this option. Nobody will go for this option.
Nobody will go for which option, ma'am?
B1, yeah, ma'am.
B.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody
One
can
more
tell.
thing.
Ah.
Actually, the load of reading made me confused actually. So I think what about the students who will solve this question actually? It has got a lot of reading load.
Correct. So it's
And
almost like a.
sentences are complicated. They are not simpler ones to understand.
Okay. So you're saying there is
Tricky
scope for
sentences are given here.
complex sentences. Reading load. Okay, anybody else? Any language issues you can find in this thing? Joshi sir said correctly that the reading load is very high. Even for like if usually the time allotted for each question is about 1 minute, and to read each option and understand and compare the options, it's almost like a word play they are doing.
Ma'am, I have a grammatical issue in the option C.
Very good. That's what I was looking for.
Is it okay to say lesser companies?
No, it should be fewer companies.
Fewer, I think.
Yeah, it's very good.
Less is for uncountable, I think.
Correct. Yeah, I was
So it has
looking
a
for
grammatical
that.
issue.
Yes, it has a grammatical issue.
So even the correct option has some problem.
Okay.
So I think the question in itself become invalid.
Which is the correct option? Like
that is the ambiguity in itself, that okay, it indicates more than one options. As Rasi ma'am pointed that okay, C, I think Garma ma'am said that C and D options become apparently the same in terms of their apparent meaning.
So they're like overlapping kind of options.
Overlapping.
Yeah. So now, what is the correct option here? The past 5 years I've seen active application for interns to several companies. B is very wrong because
yes. So as Rasi ma'am has already pointed, like it can be eliminated easily, so it should not be there.
Yeah. Because it just says the opposite of what this thing says. C is the correct answer.
Yes.
And it has a
grammatically wrong.
Grammatically incorrect. Yeah. Yes. So you can say that B and D are kind of problematic options.
Yes.
Yeah, and this itself will make the question, the system will pick up the question and flag it for issues. So, and we will not be able to use the data from this question for any purpose.
So I think that you pointed previously that fair and defensive. So it does not have the defensive quality.
Defensibility, fairness, I don't know. It's not. I don't think the question is unfair because it's not like marginalizing or it's not. Yeah, you can say that it is unfair because like Joshi sir pointed out, the reading load is quite complex and too much. So it can become a test of.
I'm saying that it is not defensive because the C and D option approximately look same.
Correct. That's what. If it's not valid and reliable, it becomes the question itself loses, becomes very low.
Credibility.
Credibility. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
This is Mukesh. I would like to draw your kind attention towards the option D, just to reflect on it. There is a phrase 5 times a year. Please reflect on it. 5 times a year. Option D, phrase 5 times a year. What does it suggest? Is it suggested in the passage? Or
no.
Or the question maker has just made the option D to confuse the student or as a distractor? Please reflect on it. Option D.
Yeah, I think yes. Others want to take discuss this? I will go last. Your colleague Mukesh sir has asked a question. Mukesh sir, you have to prompt them to answer.
Yes, yes. I am asking just to reflect on option D. It says several companies have initiated intern profiling 5 times a year in the recent past. Does it mean that the companies every year they're increasing their uh, application for the internship, or does it mean that as a whole, 5 years as a whole, they have surpassed the applications?
Now, for me, as far as I understand it, they want to say that every year in recent times, every year 5 times they have done that, not as a whole. So yes, I agree, and I can alter my conclusion that okay, it can prove, it can be a good distractor as well. Okay, means intentionally it has been put. Am I audible?
Intentionally, yes, intentionally you're saying because to confuse the students with the word 5, because the tested
Yes.
sentence also
Yes.
has the word 5.
5 times and years. All the words are just misleading
Yeah, they're
to
like,
the student.
that's why this is an analytical, passage. Like if you're reading a narrative or a story, it will not be like a verbal reasoning test. Whereas in an analytical passage, there will be a lot of verbal reasoning that goes on. Just because the words from the sentence is there in the options, some kids might just look, oh, these words are there, so they will pick it up. So this is to intentionally confuse, I think. What do others think? Rajshri ma'am, Garima ma'am, can you? Mukit sir, have you got your answer, or you want somebody to come up with points? Am I audible? Parth, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
You are. Yes, audible.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am,
okay.
you are audible.
Mukesh sir, I thought you were leading the discussion on this.
Okay, I think just for a healthy discussion, I just asked this question.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
To whom you want to tag to, Mukesh sir?
Mukesh sir, are you got your answer, or should we go to the? If you've got your answer, then we can go to the next question.
well, I think my opinion is that the C, I think as Rajshri ma'am has said, that B option is clearly can be clearly ruled out. Okay, and C and D can go together. Right, for me, C is the correct answer, and D can be used as a distractor since it is an analytical passage. So I think it is more of a like reasoning. It requires reasoning.
Correct. Correct. So you're saying like it might not be really, we cannot call it a really overlapping option, you're saying? Like,
No, I don't think it's an overlapping option, but it may distract the students.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So C says there were lesser companies searching for intern profiles earlier as compared to those in the recent 5 years. So that is what the tested sentence says. And D says several companies have initiated intern profiling 5 times a year in the recent past. So this is not comparing or contrasting anything. So, I sort of agree with Mukesh sir that it's, it can stand as a separate option because it is not comparing, whereas C is comparing two things, earlier and the current C. Rashi ma'am, what do you think?
She's saying that she is the correct answer.
C is the correct answer. But I think she was mentioning that D is also overlapping with C. Even I initially thought so, but now that Mukesh sir has brought this point that it can stand as a valid separate one, but though it is a weak one, in the sense like 5 times a year, if somebody reads just 5 times a year, they will know it doesn't, the sentence is not talking about 5 times a year, which is different from 5 years. So there is a play of words there. Right? Okay. We'll go to the next.
Option D is not overlapping. Actually, it is just distracting the learners only.
So yeah.
But it has not been mentioned in the paragraph that their profiling has been increased by time.
Correct. Yeah. So let's go to the another question, second question. I think I hope that we can review at least 3-4 questions. Can somebody read this question? Like,
Yes, I'm going to read it out. Question number 12. Select the central idea of the paragraph. The paragraph likely to precede paragraph first.
So you have to imagine there is another paragraph before the given first paragraph. And what could it be?
Options are A, process of registering for internships. Option B, knowing more about internships. Option C, do's and don'ts for an internship interview. Option D, startup and internships.
So do you want to see the first paragraph, all of you, to see what could be the correct answer? Because even I forgot. So the first paragraph says, over the last 5 years, more companies have been actively looking for intern profiles, according to a 2018-19 survey by an online internship and training platform. This survey reveals that India had 80% more internship applications, with 2.2 million applications received in 2018 compared to 1.27 million in the year before. The trend was partly due to more industries looking to have fresh minds and ideas on existing projects for better productivity. What was originally seen as a Western concept, getting an internship before plunging into the job market, is fast gaining momentum at Indian workplaces. So this is the paragraph. And if there was a paragraph preceding this, what would be the central idea? Process of registering for internships, knowing more about internships, do's and don'ts, and startups and internships. Which do you think is the correct answer?
I think D.
D. Okay. What about others?
Or I have made decision in a hurry. Okay, let me think a bit more. I was very prompt to answer actually.
Ma'am, we can consider B also.
B also, knowing more about internships?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, we'll discuss.
I think Amit Gupta ji has hit the right question, right answer. Startups and internships.
D, startups and internships. Okay.
Uh, Ma'am, may I say something?
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for Joseph sir. I just choose that answer because just reviewing the question or the point that you taught us to for reviewing a question, because some of the options can be eliminated easily.
Hmm.
Do's and don't for an internship interview. Okay,
Yes.
there is nothing to do with interview in the whole paragraph. So
Yes.
the preceding paragraph cannot be connected with that.
Correct.
Knowing more about internship, so it is the next paragraph is not related to the internship definition or like that, that it is not describing
Correct.
more about the internship.
Yeah.
It's about the
Correct.
data of
Very correct.
internship. So
Yes.
these two options just can be eliminated easily. The other thing, the process of registering for internship, so it's about the process that how can you go into an internship, so
Hmm.
that can easily be eliminated. So that's why
Correct.
I just hit for the D options. uh, so one means I want to add that, okay, so that question becomes a bit easy, means option can be more complicated, or there should be some distractors or like
Ah,
that.
which is more relevant, right? To
That becomes
the
more
this
relevant.
thing, paragraph 1.
Yes.
Mukesh sir, any thoughts?
Ji ma'am. For me, the correct answer is B. Knowing more about internships.
B, knowing more about internships. Okay.
Exactly.
Garima ma'am, Pankaj sir.
Ma'am, I also agree with Mukesh sir. The B option should be the correct, knowing more about internships.
Okay. Pankaj sir.
My vote is for B again,
Hmm.
but I'll also be, opting option B.
Okay.
Because in the first paragraph, there is nothing about startups, na?
No, see,
Well, can I say something?
there is everything about the startups, but not only about the startups. They have talked about this multinational also along with the government organizations.
Yes.
So just a food for thought. From here we can start.
No, I'm just going to check the CBSE question paper to see their marking scheme and check what is the correct answer, because even I'm not able to decide between B and D. Just hold on.
Can I add something?
Yes, sir.
I'm Mukesh here. Well,
Yes, sir.
for me, B is the only correct answer here, because
Ah.
I think we can easily rule out A, C, D. Not easily, but after having thought on all the options, um, like the A says process of registering for internship. Like the question here is that which one of these precede the paragraph 1? Okay,
Hmm.
then what does the paragraph 1 says? Actually, it bring out some data or
Hmm.
statistics, like those were the applications, and before this and after that. Okay, a period. So,
Hmm.
and gradually what happens in there are I think 4 or 5 passages.
Hmm.
Okay, so when we talk about writing a passage, like there is a, what to say, I don't know if the exact word is that coherent or integrity between the
Hmm. Hmm.
passages. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
and these are divided into 4 paragraphs. So there should be an integrity, like the thought switch over from one to two,
The flow of thoughts.
second to third, a flow of idea. Okay, and a flow of
Hmm.
idea
Hmm.
that, like the second para says about the internship, the startup and internship D option cannot be correct, because internship can be at various fields, like like the para second says that internship can be in government sector, it can be in startups, it can be MCNs, multinational
Correct.
companies. Okay, so it can't be a correct answer D. Okay.
So you're
And
you're
do's and
saying
don'ts.
like if there was a there was a passage, if there was a paragraph which is about startups and internship, you cannot have a logical transition to the next paragraph
Yes,
from
exactly.
startups to other this thing.
Flow of
So
idea.
yeah, the flow of ideas. So Amit sir and Amit sir and Joshi sir, I will just share the marking scheme, CBSE marking scheme. So then we can discuss why, like even I was tending towards D a lot, but now that I'm seeing the marking scheme, I'm thinking there might be a different rationale for that. I may not able to. Can you see my PDF?
Yes, we can see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you see question number 12, can you see? Knowing more about internships is the correct idea. All of you can see?
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what they intend to, why that could be the correct idea is because there is nothing about startups in the entire passage. So if you, now I'm just, thinking from reverse, from knowing the correct answer, I'm thinking that because there is no mention of startup or anything, and usually the first passage kind of is a topic line passage. It tells what the other paragraphs are going to be, and it should logically flow into the next paragraph. Because there is nothing about startups, especially mentioned in this thing. So, paragraph about startups and internship might not be the ideal thing to precede the existing first paragraph. That's what I'm thinking. So, because it's about internships in general, the current status of internships, now I feel like B might be more appropriate. What do you think, Joshi sir and Amit sir? I was also
B
tending
more
to
appropriate? Yeah, B is the
I
only
got the
appropriate.
Oh, okay.
got the
Ma'am,
point. The moment Kesar told the B as correct answer, that very moment my mind got stuck with the word start. Actually, startup is not anywhere in the first paragraph.
Correct. Yeah. Even
I think in
that,
other paragraphs also it is not
yeah.
there. So
okay,
that
ma'am.
is why option is not be the correct
Just
answer.
one thing. Just one
Ah.
thing. This is Amit. More appropriate or is the only appropriate?
I think startups, because startups is not mentioned anywhere.
You used the word more appropriate. So I'm just looking for.
Amit sir, let me answer that. It is going to be more appropriate. Reason being, all the answers are correct, but sequencing is not there. Since the question has asked in such a way that please come up with the sequencing. So definitely, all the answers are going to be correct, irrespective
Now,
that
although all the answers will not be correct, all the answers are related and relevant to the
related, yes,
topic,
related
relevant to
and
the
relevant.
topic.
Yes,
But
yes.
and another thing we need to keep in mind is the audience, right? It's the purpose of the thing. The purpose is not to instruct how to register or what are the do's, and it's not being a manual for intentions. It is just giving the current status. So A and C can be easily eliminated considering the purpose of the passage. But
So
between B and C, both are related to the general topic of internships. But because D is becoming too narrow, it might not be the most appropriate.
Okay, okay. So I'm asking that thing just because if we are using the term more appropriate means there is some space for other options also. So
So
do
yeah,
we need to correct the stem for
uh,
making a question more precise?
which of these is the can be the
More
what do you
likely,
most likely?
most likely. I think
Uh,
then we need to correct the
we can
stem.
rephrase. We can rephrase the
Okay,
yeah
now I
the
completely
stem.
agree.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah.
have no issue now.
Okay, okay. So,
Okay.
Parth, how much time do we have?
We still have got 10-15 minutes more to go.
Okay, so we will do another question. Okay, question number 13.
Yours,
Okay.
we cannot see your this.
Oh, okay. Oh, are we in the marking scheme still?
No,
Did I
nothing has
say?
nothing has been
See, the
shared.
shared screen is not seen.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. 1 second. Can you see now?
Yes, now we can see.
Yes, ma'am.
Parth.
Visible.
Okay, that now that Parth is actively taking part, can I ask Parth to read the question?
Okay, thank you very much. So next question is going to be question number 13, and that says select the option that displays the true statement with reference to figure 1. Now, internships for engineering and management are the top 2 favorites. Option B, design and architecture internships are significantly more popular than others. Option C, internships for media and others have nearly equal popularity percentage. Last option is management internships popularly is more than twice that for media.
And then they have a separate question for the visually impaired candidates. Is that practice followed in MP also for the 12th exams? Does this visually impaired candidates question come for in MP class board exams?
That I won't be able to tell. I think other members are more appropriate that they can take it up. But there is an option, but how this option flows, I'm not aware.
Ma'am, Rajshri ma'am, Amit sir, like, does this happen in MP also? Do they give a separate question for disability?
No,
No, ma'am.
No,
No? Oh,
there is
okay,
separate
okay,
question.
Ma'am,
okay.
They are
these
given a
candidates, they
writing.
get writers to write their question paper. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, fine.
or
Okay.
they get a separate paper in braille lipi sometimes.
Oh, they do that, braille paper?
Sometimes, but I'm not sure that when was it last time used.
Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. So, all of you, do you want to see the graph? Or do you think the question is okay? What do you think? Anybody wants
Ma'am,
to?
may
Yes, ma'am.
I? The question's name should be changed as it should start with WH questioner. Which out of the given option
Which of the
displays the
following?
true
Yeah.
yeah, which
Oh,
of the
that
following?
okay. Yeah. So CBSE has has a this thing that they can use both. So CBSE is not very particular about the question stem. They say even if it is an instruction, it's okay. They will follow it as an instruction for each question. So we can ignore that part. So as long as consistency is maintained, that every question has an instruction line, it's fine. We can look at the validity and the options, whether there are overlapping options and things like that. Any thoughts on that? Should I show the the circle graph?
Ma'am, option B on the basis of graph can easily be ruled out because it clearly mentions that it is only 7%, I think 7.9, it's not clearly visible to me, but 7.9% for design and architecture.
1 second, ma'am. I'll just pull that this thing. Hold on. I will just get that. Can all of you see the graph now?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. Any ideas, any thoughts on this question? Rajshri ma'am, you said which can be, option B can be eliminated.
Yes, ma'am, B, because design and architecture internships are significantly more popular than others. And it
It's
is
almost the
clearly,
opposite.
yeah, it's
It's like more like a, so I think what they mean when they say analytical skills, no? Here I think in certain kind of cognitive skills, they might want to play with the words. Like students, the rational they will write for this option is derives the opposite of the child derives the opposite of the intended correct answer. So they are confusing more popular with the least popular. So when they are making the distractors, they will be using rationals like the distractor rationals, where they will say, so for us it might be weak because we are looking at it as adults, but when a child is reading and if they miss more popular and they confuse the comparison, and it almost becomes a reading test, which is not fair. And I know CBSE will debate whether it's okay with it or not, but many people will, this is almost like a math question, confusing least for the most and things like that. Any other thoughts? What about others? Amit sir, Joshi sir? Path, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Mukesh sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Any thoughts?
Well, I think it's a good question.
It's a good
Well, I
question.
think it's a good question. Only one thing that you already mentioned that in CBSE there is a pattern that question can be asked in the instructional form. There is no need to frame the interrogative question. Okay.
Correct, correct.
So
It's not like a
only
hard and fast rule
fast
that is
rule.
followed. Yeah.
जी
As
जी
long as
बिल्कुल
consistency is maintained, that should be fine.
जी जी अभी इस प्रश्न मेरे को एक चीज जो समझ में आ रही है वो ये है कि लाइक वो it is an analytical passage and there is a pie chart we can see easily there are 5 sectors that are being displayed in the pie chart, and we have to frame. A question maker has to frame 4 options, A to D, okay, A, B, C, D. So there is a very very less scope for the question maker to frame the question to frame the options, covering all the sectors or areas. So I think what Rajeshri ma'am has said, that B is a poor distractor or it can be easily ruled out, but from the point of view of a question maker, what else that वो बेचारा कर क्या पास कर सकता है, मतलब it's like that, है ना? तो है ना, क्योंकि 5 फील्ड दे रखी हैं, मैनेजमेंट, है ना, मीडिया, डिजाइन, आर्किटेक्चर, इंजीनियरिंग एंड अदर्स. अब उसमें से उसको 4 ऑप्शंस बनाने हैं, तो उसके पास स्कोप है ही नहीं, राइट? So we can't say that it's a poor distractor or it can be ruled out, because every option, like I think some days, I think a week ago or in the last or before last internship, like Pankaj sir has rightly said, that it's not possible to make all the wrong option as a good distractor, और यहाँ अगर बात की जाए, इट्स अ एनालिटिकल पैसेज, तो उसमें पाई चार्ट है, तो वी कांट मेक डाटा है, तो डाटा में आप व्हाट मैनिपुलेशन कैन यू डू इन दैट डाटा? देयर इज नो स्कोप फॉर मैनिपुलेशन, ना.
Most of them will turn out to be weak only.
Exactly.
Ma'am, this is Amit.
Ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, Amit sir.
No, let Garima ma'am.
Garima ma'am, yeah, okay.
Ma'am, I think third and fourth, both the options are correct.
No.
Because internship for media and others have nearly equal popularity percentage. So except management trust are nearly, they are not exactly popular, but except management, rest of the 4 are nearly, they have same popularity. And fourth one says that management internships popularity is more than twice that for media. So that is also correct, ma'am. Management
so D is correct. D is the correct answer. But C, internships for media and others, what the intent to say is, if you take the popularity of media and if you take the popularity of all the other sectors, it is the same. It is like saying 20.8 is equal to 14 plus 7 plus 9 plus 48. It is wrong, no?
No, ma'am, it's not like that. There is a section of others also, which is 9 point something.
Sorry. So, I missed that. It was my mistake.
Yes, others have an additional option actually.
Okay.
It is a section. So
correct,
it becomes a wrong answer. C.
So, ma'am, it's not correct, no, ma'am. That is 9. Others is 9, and media is 20. So they are not nearly equal, no? One is twice the other. One is 2 times the other one.
Joshi sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me? I am seeking a help.
Yes.
So do you think the D section is grammatically correct? I think there is a fault. For me.
What is the issue, sir?
Some grammatical issue. Management internships popularity is more than that of for media internships. Internship should be repeated, only popularity should be omitted.
Oh, media internships.
Yes. Popularity should
it's
be
incomplete.
eliminated only.
It's incomplete.
Yes, for me.
Yes. No, that's correct for, because media can mean anything.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. Anybody else? Good catch, sir. Anybody else? Okay. Parth, we are past the time, no?
5 minutes ago.
Yes.
Okay, so
it's almost a time to say goodbye.
You cannot say goodbye, Parth. You have to be the last person to leave.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So tomorrow, we will close the session, and Parth, tomorrow they will be presenting, right?
Yeah, see, for, day one is going to be, facilitation from your side, and day two, it is going to be facilitation from each one of them.
Okay, and
So
they've sent in all the PPTs.
yeah, I have got, PPT received from Rashi madam, Pankaj sir, Garima madam, and Mukesh sir. Joshi sir and Amit sir are left.
I
So
will send it today.
right, sir.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
will send
Parth,
it
is it
today.
it will be okay if they present in the language they are comfortable with, right? If they are
Yeah,
if they're
100%.
comfortable
Yes,
with Hindi, they
yes,
can
yes.
present in Hindi,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
So
for
I
sure.
have limited comprehension in Hindi, but because Parth is there, I have now confidence of managing this thing. So whichever language you're comfortable with, you can present in that language. It's okay.
So looking forward to, day two,
Okay.
where now sir and madam have to present, and this is going to be the last session as far as facilitation is concerned. All the best from my side. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Thank you
Thank
for.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
We are
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Parth, okay. We can leave, right?
Yeah, you can.